Welcome back to Down the Rabbit Hole. This is episode 7, and we are going to be talking about a ghost town by the name of Dogtown. I had to say it like that. Anyway, if you're new here, hit that like button, ring that bell for notifications. And also, please hit that subscribe button, help a girl out. I do have Four Sister Podcast, True Crime Lounge, Just a Breezy Chat, Sassy Sun and Bell, and Dark Academia News. Um, so, what do we know about Dogtown? Well, we know it's located in Cape Ann. We also know it has been long called a ghost town, and it was first settled in 1693, and it was eventually abandoned. Now, why was it abandoned, you might ask? Well, residents of a nearby town started believing in the 19th century that witches inhabited this deserted town. Babson College founder Roger Babson hired stonecutters to adorn boulders in Dogtown with inspirational messages in order to keep the spirits away. It is believed to this day to be haunted. So, what about Dogtown? Well, it's also known as Dogtown Commons, or Dogtown Common, or Dogtown Village. It is an abandoned little inland village in Gloucester on Cape Ann Island in Massachusetts. So, what about the early history of this town? Well, we know that it was once known as a common settlement, and later the Dogtown was divided up into the city of Gloucester and the town of Rockport. So, Dogtown was first settled in 1693, and according to legend, it is the name of the settlement that came from dogs, and that women kept while their husband was fighting in the American Revolution. The community grew to be 5 square miles, and it was an ideal location, and as it provided protection from pirates and enemy natives. So, by the early 1700s, it was like the land was open for individual settlements, and so, anyway, as previously as it had been used for common land or for wood or pasturing cattle and sheep. Now, it's estimated that there are about 60 to 80 homes that stood in Dogtown at the peak of its population. And during the mid 1700s, as many as 100 families would inhabit this town, with which was stable until the American Revolution. Now we all know about the American Revolution, right? America got its independence. Britain had nothing to lose. America had everything to gain from this. But anyway, what led to this decline? Well, various factors will lead to this decline, including a revived fishing industry from the Gloucester Harbor. After the American Revolution ended, the area had become safe again from enemy ships, which allowed cargo to move in and out of the new fishing port, and the success gave way to international shopping, um, including timber and quarried rock and new coastal roads, which were also contributed to Dogtown's demise. Now, as they ran past the town of Gloucester into which at the time was booming. So most of the farmers here were moved away by the end of the War of 1812, as Dogtown had become a risk of coastal bombardment, and it eventually would become an embarrassment with its dwindled reputation. And some of its last occupants is suspected of, can we guess it, witchcraft. And one of such inhabitants was named Thomas Zane Younger, who went by Tammy. And she was described as the Queen of Witches by Thomas Dresser. Now, she intimidated people so much that she left a fish in the corn and allowed them to allow them through. Another reputed which is associated with Dogtown is called the Woman of Peg Wesson. And we both know during the 1600s and everything how witchcraft was very much frowned upon. There was even like a Salem witch trials that happened around this time. So we know what I'm talking about. Anyway, um, but this Peg Wesson, she lived in Gloucester, and at least in the last inhabitant died, their pets became feral and possibly gave rise to the nickname Dogtown. So by 1828, the village was like all but abandoned, and the last resident of Dogtown was a freedman named Cornelius Finson, who went by Black Nail, and he was found in 1830 with his feet frozen, living in a cellar hole, and he removed them and had taken them to a poorhouse in Gloucester, and the last structure in Dogtown was raised in 1845, ending that it had been once a thriving community. So, this would leave nothing but open grazing land. After its abandonment, and Dogtown was mostly cleared, with this open field of abundant boulders nearby. I would like to go to this place, honestly. But anyway, nearby residents will look toward this land as a way of graze and their farm animals. And these animals were kept private lots in 1920s, in which was the last of the plots to be ever be abandoned. So, in the decades that would follow, there was once open land, eventually that would become a dense forest. So let's talk about these Babson and boulders now. Now we know most of the area in Dogtown is now a dense woodland, crisscrossed and bisected by trails and old roads. So Dogtown Road, off of Cherry Street in the western section, is lined with the remains of the cellar homes of the settlers. So many of which numbered in correspondence with the names of John J. Babson's book and the history of Gloucester. Now, his grandson, Roger, is known for, among many things, his commissioning of unemployed stonecutters and his carved inspirations of 36 boulders. In Dogtown during the Great Depression, Babson would also map out a number of cellar holes left from the homes of the former residents. So, most of the land was held in trust in Gloucester and Rockport, and therefore protected by perpetuity. In the current state of Dogtown, affords rich recreation opportunities to bikers and hikers, and dog walkers, nature lovers, and cross country skiers, geologists, and historians. And this area has peppered what is like with a household, including one named the whale's jaw, which resembled like before collapsing after its picnic campfire got out of control in 1989. In the northwest corner of Dogtown is known as Norton Memorial Forest, and it covers about 121 acres. And this land was for Frederick Norton, a NASA physicist and an MIT professor who owned land on the outskirts of Dogtown, and before the 1930s, Norton would plant at least 100,000 trees and 40 species of fern there. And it also foraged and maintained trails nearby. But anyway, what do we think of this Dogtown? Now, I totally will go and visit. It has somehow made its way to my list of travel places in the U.S. to visit. Now, but what do you think? If you lived here, let me know in the comments. I'm very interested to know what you think of this ghost town, if you've ever been there in general. But yeah, but that's it. And join me next time as we talk about the origins and sightings of Bigfoot. Now, I personally don't believe in Bigfoot, but their supposed origins and supposed sightings. So we're gonna dive into that some now. Then.